All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Mink. I'm the General Counsel and Vice President of Risk Management at InTown Suites, which is a national extended stay hotel chain headquartered in Atlanta. I'm also an adjunct professor of legal analytics and innovation at the University of Georgia School of Law in Athens, Georgia. Today, I'm going to be talking about domain to data science, how data is transforming careers in every industry. So before I get started, I'm going to give you a quick roadmap. So first, I'm going to tell you about my path to data science. So I'm a practicing attorney, but I have gravitated towards data science. It's had a profound impact on my career as an attorney in a positive way. So then I'm going to talk about domain expertise, which is your expertise in things like law and medicine or finance, whatever your sort of core expertise is, and how you can merge that with data science to make it even more powerful. And then I'm going to talk about how you can learn new skills and tell your story as you go about trying to combine expertise in data with your domain expertise. So first, my path to data science. I was a political science major in undergrad at the University of Georgia, and then I went to law school at the University of Virginia. And I was pretty good with computers, but otherwise had no background in data, no formal training in computer science, never envisioned myself as having a career related in any way to data or programming or anything like that. Then I went to a law firm, still had no plans of working with data in any way, wouldn't have even known how to get started with that. And then ultimately ended up in-house at a couple of companies. I worked at a Fortune 300 railroad called Norfolk Southern, and now I work at a national extended stay hotel chain. And so the way that I really came about getting into data science was just solving my own problems as an attorney at a large law firm. So I was drafting a lot of real estate contracts in that job for large commercial developments, building skyscrapers and data centers and restaurants around the country. And what I found is, even though this work was supposed to be really complex and very tailored to each client and each specific situation, I found that a lot of the work I was doing as an attorney was actually very repetitive and could be automated. And so I thought, there's got to be a better way to do this than the way that we're doing it, where I'm typing the same things over and over again, and a lot of the same situations are recurring, and we're acting like it's the first time we've seen it, where we actually are drafting the same thing over and over again. So I started doing some research on my own and actually developed an automation system on my own in Microsoft Office. So I used Microsoft Access, which is a database program, Microsoft Excel, and Microsoft Word, and I built this platform. It looks a lot like a Google form or something that you'd fill out, where basically you fill out all the things that are going in your contract, and you press a button and it spits out the contract. And not only does it spit out the contract, but then it also takes the data that you put into that form and it puts it into an Excel spreadsheet. And this really, again, it was just a way of solving my own problem, of trying to make my own life easier, trying to make the work I was doing more interesting and less repetitive. And we did this, rolled this out for all of our contracts for the law firm's largest client. And what I realized through this process, as I learned more about automation and analytics, is that anytime you automate something, what you're doing is you're creating a digital record. So you're taking all that information that was in the contract in this dense Word document that you wouldn't want to read, and you're putting it basically in a spreadsheet, in a database. And that's all data is. It's taking information and making it digital so that you can then do things with that digitally stored information. So what this means is we're taking unstructured data, the data that's in the contract that doesn't have a structure, it's all in paragraphs, and we're giving it structure. We're putting it in something like an Excel spreadsheet that we can then leverage to do all sorts of exciting things. So you can sort by rows and columns in an Excel spreadsheet and get information that way. You can really access that data in a much more insightful way than you would if you're just going through a bunch of Word documents. You can also create charts. You can also, to take it a step further, build interactive dashboards. So that's what I did. I took the automation that I was doing and the data that was produced as a result of that, and partnered with our IT teams at the law firm that I worked at, and built user-friendly dashboards so that our clients could actually, instead of having to go through a dense paper summary to see what their contract said, they could just click a button on a dashboard and see instantly, okay, here's all the important terms in our contracts that relate to payment. Here's all the things that we can do on our property. Here's all the things that we can't do on our property. So giving them access in a user-friendly way to all that information that was previously stored in these very dense legal documents. We also could integrate directly with their business systems. So because we're storing all this data in a spreadsheet now about what their rent is or when their renewals are going to be, we can plug that right into our clients' business systems, and they could then automate their payments, get automated reminders when deadlines were approaching, that kind of thing. So that's what I did when I worked at a law firm. And that led me in-house to a railroad company where I led basically all of the data aspects of their law department. And then now I'm the chief legal officer, the general counsel for a national hotel chain called InTown Suites. And that means basically that I'm responsible for all the legal matters for all of our 200 hotels nationwide in 22 states with 1,500 employees. And it involves a whole range of things. Some of it is insurance claims, some of it is lawsuits, some of it is negotiating contracts with various parties that we have business relationships with. It's sort of the full range of legal matters that we see. But I think effective chief legal officers don't just view themselves as chief legal officers. What we really are chief risk officers, because ideally you don't want things getting into a legal situation if you can avoid them. If you have an insurance claim, you don't want it developing into a lawsuit. If somebody has an accident on one of your properties, you don't want it leading to a lawsuit. You want to ideally prevent the accident to begin with. And so that's really what you have the power to do with data, is to be more proactive about risks and not just say, well, this is a legal risk, or we're going to get sued, or we're going to lose this much money, but start to have some certainty and start to be able to be proactive in preventing some of these bad outcomes before they even happen. So how can I do that in my current job? Well, in addition to overseeing all of our traditional legal matters, what I also oversee are all of our customer complaints that we receive through our online portal. We receive incident reports from our employees anytime something happens at one of our properties that needs to be documented. And so we can take all of that information is being stored digitally through forms that are submitted, and we can take that information and now leverage that data to be able to better align our costs with our risks. So as a company, we don't have unlimited resources, unlimited money, unlimited employees, unlimited time. We can't be in all places at once. But what we can do is when we're hearing customer concerns related to certain topics, or we're hearing reported incidents related to certain topics or at certain properties, we can target those areas, target those properties to prevent risks before they become legal risks. And so I'll give you an example of that. One of our main sources of risk and sources of risk for any company that owns a lot of property is slip, trip, and fall hazards. So it's an icy day, somebody's walking in the parking lot, and there's a pothole in the parking lot, and they trip and they fall and they break up a bone, and they have to go get surgery, and they have medical bills, and they sue us and say, you weren't properly taking care of your parking lot, and so we have a claim against you, and you should pay for my medical bills and my pain and suffering. And ideally, we could wait until that becomes a legal risk. That's one option. We could wait until that becomes a legal risk and fight that out, or have our insurance carrier pay them. But ideally, what would happen is we would make sure our parking lots are always paved or that ice is cleared away. And so we can identify, by leveraging data, we can identify some of those concerns. If a customer has complained about a pothole in the parking lot, or an employee has reported that there's a pothole in the parking lot, or one of our quality assurance professionals has reported that pothole, we can go out and send somebody to fix that so that nobody ever trips on it to begin with. And if we have certain areas where maybe there's more likely to be issues in the parking lot because of weather or because of drainage, we can target those risks and start to align our costs with those risks, so that instead of incurring the cost of somebody breaking their arm and having to pay all of their bills and their pain and suffering, we can just incur the much lower cost of making sure the parking lot is properly paved. So that's a great example of how you can use data in law. You can start to really understand, well, what are the universe of our legal risks, and how do we mitigate or prevent those risks from happening? So now I'm going to talk about how you can merge your domain expertise, like in law, with knowledge of data to make yourself extremely valuable. So the first thing is you don't have to choose between your domain and data science. So you might have heard a lot of things in different presentations today that really piqued your interest, and you think, wow, that'd be really cool to learn more about that. But maybe you still want to be a lawyer or a doctor, or you want to be in finance, or you want to do something in supply chain, and you're thinking, well, I'd really like to use data, but how do I merge this with all the other things that I want to do? And that is, not only can you do it, but it's extremely important that you merge those two things. And I think, for me in my career, a lot of this has been viewed as innovative and new, and people are sort of unfamiliar with lawyers using data. But I think for all of you getting into your careers over the next 10 years or so, I think what you're going to find is by the time you're in your career, it's going to be expected. It's going to be expected that you have data literacy, that you understand how data works. You don't have to be a data scientist, but regardless of what career you're going into, you need to understand the power of data and how it can inform what you do as a professional. So what I would recommend to you if you're trying to do that is to really start by solving your own problems in your domain using data science. So if you're interested in law or medicine or finance or supply chain or education, think about what kinds of data might be available to you in those fields, and then try to solve a problem using data science. So just like I did with the contracts, the problem I was trying to solve was, this is really inefficient. I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over, and this could be automated. And then also we can take the data and create dashboards with it and do all other kinds of cool things with it. So think about that in whatever you're interested in, how you can use that to collect data and to do something with that data that's valuable. All right. This is something called becoming T-shaped. So it's T-shaped because there's your domain expertise, your expertise in law or medicine or whatever it is that your subject matter expertise. But then there's all this top stuff that you can also develop that makes you extremely valuable. If you also have, in addition to your domain expertise, business skills, and you have data skills, and you have IT skills working with software, and you have project management skills, understanding how you can take software and people and work it all into a process that's much more efficient and effective, that makes you extremely valuable, because not everybody has that. So if you've just got that domain expertise, you're not nearly as valuable as somebody who has all of these other skill sets and the domain expertise. All right, so how do you learn these new skills and then tell your story? Well, first of all, I would encourage you to think big picture about your career. So I had no idea, even when I graduated law school, even a couple of years into my legal career, that I would ever be doing anything related to data, particularly not in the legal space. And I didn't even know what that would look like. So I didn't set out to do it. And so if you're sitting here now, wherever you are, thinking, I don't know what I want to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Well, adults are that way too. And that's a good thing. You should allow your career and your interests to evolve. So think big picture. Think about what you like to do. Do you like to read? Do you like to write? Do you like to do math? Do you like to use software? What is it that you like to do? What do you want to learn? So if you find yourself gravitating today towards different types of talks, what is it about those that you liked? What is it about the platforms that you heard about, or the skills that you heard about that interest you? And so what do you want to learn? What skills do you have? And then what skills do you need? Think about what you're already good at, but also maybe something that it might be a stretch for you to be good at. Again, I didn't have any kind of analytics background. That wouldn't have been something I would have said that's within my skill set, but I wanted to do something within my law practice. And so I acquired those skills in order to do it. Go to the next page here. So how do you develop this expertise? First off, white papers are a great resource. If you don't know what a white paper is, basically it's a PDF typically that various companies produce that has lots of good information. Usually they're 5 or 10 pages long. They're very visual, very quick and easy to read. You can usually get through them in 30 minutes or less. So Google any topic that you're interested in. If you're interested in a certain type of software, or you're interested in, one thing I was interested in was contract automation. So I Googled contract automation white papers, and you find all these different free resources where you can very quickly get up to speed on various different topics. Google Alerts are also a great way to train yourself. There's a feature in Google Alerts. You go there and you set different keywords, and you can set an email to come to you every day or every week that gives you all the new articles on that particular topic. So it's a great way to stay up to speed on what's going on within your areas of interest. There's lots of online courses, both free and cheap, that you can take to learn particular areas. Work cross-functionally. So what that means is partner with people who are good at things that you're not good at. So if you don't know anything about data just yet, or if you know about data but you don't know about medicine and you want to do something with data in medicine, then partner with somebody who knows something about medicine. And you'll not only be able to draw on their expertise to produce whatever it is you're trying to produce and work towards that goal, but also you're going to learn a lot in the process about that area. And so you'll build your skill set as well in the process. And then the other thing is solve your own problems. You don't have to come up with some new crazy thing that nobody's ever heard of and go out and try to solve this really abstract issue that's not going to be valuable. Start with something that you're dealing with. Be like, this is really inefficient. I think there's a way to automate this. Maybe I'll try to automate this thing that I'm working on, right? So solve your own problems before you kind of go out and look at the world and try to solve everybody else's problems. There's lots of things that you can do in your own life, in school or work, that can be really helpful and really valuable with data. And then tell your story. So start with authenticity. Think about, again, what you like to do and who you want to be, and be yourself. And everybody's career path is going to look different. And so you don't have to say, this is the one path I have to follow to be a data scientist or to be an attorney or to be a doctor or whatever it is that you want to do. Be yourself, and other things will follow from there. Credentials are a great way to show expertise. So taking online courses, trying to get certifications, those are a great way if you're trying to show that you have data expertise or that you have expertise in a particular domain. Credentials are a great way of showing that. And then start driving results now. You may be thinking, oh, I'm in school, it's too early for me to do anything. Or if you're junior in your career, you might think, well, I'm going to wait till I'm more senior to be able to do anything. It's just not practical for me to be able to do this so early. And that's not the case. You can make a little progress in anything that you do, even if it's just putting something in a spreadsheet instead of a Word document. So now that you have that data, just start by driving results in whatever you're doing and trying to think with anything that you do, how you can be innovative, how you can collect data, and how you can use that data to create additional value. So that's all. Happy to stick around for a couple minutes if you guys have any questions. Let's see, I'm trying to get to the questions feed. How do I merge my domain project management with data science? So project management is actually a great one to merge with data science because it's all about process. So you think about data, it's got to fit into the process. If there's something like automation, if you're something you're trying to automate, the best way to automate it is to understand what your process is to begin with, and then try to automate those steps. And then once you automate those steps, you can start collecting data from that. That is now information that's going to be stored digitally. What do you plan to do in the future? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Right now I'm very happy where I am, but we'll see how things develop. But it's, I think using data, you can use data in anything that you want to do. And it will ultimately, it's going to be very important as an executive in any type of company to be leveraging data. All right. It's been great. Thank you, guys.